united, lovely, hopeful minds present here with us. So felt good after listening to this words of praise. Well, who doesn't? So students, before I begin, I would want to tell you about a recent web series going on internet these days. And I tell you that this series is going hit with each episode. And each episode storyline is life savior. Yes, I'm talking about our webinar series of business studies, which is being conceptualized, planned, and directed by Dr. Dinesh Madan. Let me tell you, students, that since the beginning of this webinar series, Sir has been with us, with all the panelists, guiding them, motivating them, communicating them with their content area, so that we can all give the best to you all, right? So actually, I'm not telling you any story to get the praises, words of praises from you all, but I'm helping you to lead to a particular topic. And without waiting ahead, without waiting much, I would like to introduce today's topic, directing. So like I just told that Sir had been communicating with us, motivating us, leading us. He's actually continuously directing our efforts to reach to you all, right? So let's begin with the revision of directing chapter. And for these 2 hours, we're going to talk about the length and detail of this chapter through the help of different slides. So moving ahead, to begin with, I would want to help you to understand. I'm sure that slides are visible.
Slideshow, ma'am, you need to do.
I've done that slideshow. Okay, so to begin with, I'll just help you to recap, take a recap from where we started. The functions of management starts with the help of planning function, right? So we actually design a course of action to achieve our predetermined objectives in the process of planning. So what we planned for the execution purpose, we have created a structure around that course of action, structure of jobs, structure of positions, and somewhere this jobs and position will also have authority responsibility relationship. Various departments are created so as to help the course of action to be executed. Now, whatever jobs you have created, you need to actually man them with the help of staffing. So we put human resource through the process of staffing in order to man the structure for the course of action. So this human resource will help me in achieving the planned efforts. Now, what happens next? You have hired most efficient people as per you. You have made best of the plans. Now, what happens basically? The director has to say light, action, and camera. And it is when the movie starts. The way the movie starts when the director says these 3 words, actually in an organizational context, the action gets initiated, the course of action gets initiated with the help of directing, right? So let's see what is directing. Moving on to the meaning of directing, basically, directing is the process of these 4 elements. Directing is the process of initiating action with the help of these 4 elements. So to begin with, when we talk about directing, we actually begin with communicating, right? So you have joined an organization, you will first hear it from your supervisor or from your boss that this is what is expected out of you, out of your work profile. So somewhere you will get the communication. You will actually hear it from with the help of communication. So what is communication? The supervisor is exchanging some ideas, he's giving you some instructions, he's giving you some kind of details of work, he's just talking to you on that particular parameter, right? Why is communication done? So that me and you as a receiver and me as a sender, we come onto a common platform, right? So this is it, that I communicated that this is what you need to do. Now, मैंने कह दिया और आपने सुन लिया और काम हो गया, इससे बढ़िया तो कुछ होगा नहीं. It's not as simple as that as such, right? So somewhere after communicating, there are instances when the person may not behave in that desired manner. So what the supervisor will do now? He's going to push, he's going to motivate, he's going to stimulate the person in the picture to keep moving ahead as per the desired manner, right? So you want to get the work done from that person as per your expectations. You need to motivate that person to accomplish the goals so that he remains focused. He is not distracting himself, right? Motivation is done by the help of various incentives and all that we'll do in the later part of the chapter. Now once motivation is done, again human tendency, you keep looking for examples. If I get inspired from various people, let's say, who are very passionate about their work, I may get inspiration from people who are very good in organizing resources, the way they conduct their work and all. So somewhere along with motivation and communication, there is another element which will help or support the entire directing process, and that would be leadership, right? So with the help of leadership, the organization will be able to influence the behavior of the participants, of the employees, to strive voluntarily towards the organization goal. So aajkal to, in today's time, if I talk about, leaders are they're planted in the groups, right? Being manager, me also have to be the leader, but leaders are also planted deliberately in the group so that other people may unconsciously keep following them, so that there is no compromise on the achievement of objectives. Moving ahead, communication done, motivation done, leadership done. You have people to inspire others also. People are working with motivation also. But management understands one thing very clearly: nazar hati, durghatna ghati. So somewhere, to support all these three elements, the element of supervision also is there, wherein the management, wherein the managers, wherein the supervisors keep an eye, so that that durghatna does not happen, so that any kind of problem does not happen, or so that if the people need some help, they can provide that help immediately. And that's where we define that supervision is the act of overseeing the efforts of subordinates to ensure optimum utilization of resources for the achievement of goals. Please understand, CBSE might have removed supervision from your course content, but supervision will remain as the element of directing. We can't change that. So somewhere supervision should be done as an element. Detailing of supervision would not be done, but then you should remember the definition. Moving ahead with the features of directing, right? So we have understood that directing is the process of these four elements. So somewhere directing, with the help of communication, with the help of right motivation, and by planting the leaders and all in the team, and constant supervision, directing initiates the action, right? So you remember this clip wherein wherever you see any war front, when they know that they have to hit the mark, actually they start working on it, right? So employees just when the moment you make the employees aware of what is to be done, the employees start working on it. The moment they get distracted, they are being motivated, and they again start working on it. And the moment they feel that, okay, that person is doing better, I am admiring that person, again that brings the person back to the work. So directing initiates the action. Another feature of directing is that the directing is continuous process. You can see all these are the leaders of Tata group of company, right? So since the beginning of Tata's group till this point, wherein the last person who served from the Tata group was Ratan Tata. So somewhere one thing has never changed, that company has not stopped the directing, right? Please understand that we are dealing with humans in an organization. Until the time humans are working, the process of communication, motivation, leadership, supervision would not stop. If you're really working with robots and all, communication to tab bhi reh jayega. So until the organization stops to exist, discontinue to exist, directing will remain. So directing would be continuously performed till the time organization is working. It's a continuous process which will be there throughout the life of organization. Next feature is that directing takes place at every level of management, right? Wherever you see supervisor subordinate relationship, superior subordinate relationship, you will see that directing is happening. In what form? Communication, motivation, leadership. So somewhere the supervisor will keep using these 4 elements. The superiors will keep using these 4 elements of directing at every level of management, right? So being it middle level management, they'll constantly supervise or motivate or let's say communicate things to lower level management. Lower level management will constantly supervise, motivate the workers. So it will happen at every level of management. However, our next feature says that directing flows from top to bottom. Though we say that directing is happening at every stage, but actually it begins from the beginning, from the top level management. They define their objectives, they actually work on their strategies and all, and then they communicate the same to the lower level. They design all their motivation incentives, and the same is communicated towards the lower level of management. So somewhere directing begins from top level management and it comes down to the all the level of management. Students, now I'm going to present this short trick which has been authored by one of our teachers, Mr. Kapil Bharatwal, and he's a movie freak, right? So actually he made this trick because he really loves to watch movies. What I'm telling you is just a reference. You can understand this trick and you can make a new trick for yourself by using this as a reference. So here I'm taking this famous director, Rohit Shetty. He's action-packed director, right? So somewhere, whatever movies he directs, he actually directs all the action movies, right? We have seen all his movies, and we'll see that one thing is common, that all his movies are action-packed movies. And then if we see that all his movies are sequels, they are in the continuous series. The names of the movies are in the continuous series of their names. So we have Golmaal 1, Golmaal 2, Golmaal 3, Golmaal 4. And then if you see that all his movies are actually action packed, as I said, actually if you'll see all his movies, you'll see one thing for sure, that he's going to make best use of the automobile industry. All vehicles, cars, and every other vehicle, you'll see that they're falling from top to bottom, they're toppling down from top to bottom. So somewhere again, action packed movie here, right? So another thing that is being said about Rohit Shetty is that no one in the industry can match the level of making action movie. So somewhere Rohit Shetty के बारे में ये 4 points है, and I'm going to quickly tell you how I'm matching these points from Rohit Shetty's scenario to the features of directing. So when I said that Rohit Shetty has always produced, directed action movies, we can say that directing initiate action. So I related this point from directing, right? And then directing is continuously happening in organization from day one to till the end of the organization's life. We say that directing is continuous. So I picked it up from continuous from the second point. And third point is that all the cards fly from top to bottom. We say that directing flows from top to bottom. And then we say that no one can match the level of making action movie. Yes, herein I'm picking up the word level, and I say that directing flows from top to bottom, but it is present at all the levels of management. So this is just a reference for you all, and you want to use this trick or you want to make another trick, that's your own wish, right? So moving ahead to another topic, which is importance or significance of directing, right? So why directing is important in management functions? Why it is essential? It's essential for the simple reason that it initiates action, right? So you may have all the fancy cars and all, like you have Porsche or Mercedes, but if you don't fuel that, it is useless, right? So same ways, directing helps to initiate action. Directing fuels the other. It provides fuel to the other functions of management. So when a supervisor guides his subordinate, he communicates his ideas, he motivates the people, he actually provides, by virtue of his position, he actually provides some inspiration to work better, and he constantly supervises them. He is actually enabling people to initiate action, right? So when CBSE declared this date, they communicated to you that 9th July would be your paper. So constantly since then, you are actually motivating yourself. You are taking inspiration from your all fellow beings who are actually studying hard, and mama keeps, peeping in your room whether you're studying or not. She's supervising you continuously, and this is what, pushing you to start your action. And that is what directing all about. That is the advantage. Another thing, directing guides employees to fully realize their potential. As a human being, probably at times I am not aware of my own potential, but the moment somebody effectively communicated to me, yes, you can do it, or somebody tries to motivate me by giving right incentive. If you've seen any rabbit, if you put that carrot in front of him, he'll keep running after you. So the moment rabbit knows that there is carrot, he starts running, he uses potential. So same ways, if we get to know that there are some incentives waiting for us, or probably I personally want to do that, I realize my potential. If I see someone whom I really admire, I may try to push myself, push my limits to move towards that area. And that is what directing helps you. It actually helps you to realize your true potential if you really focus on what is being told to you, right? So that's why we say that mama papa ki, teachers ki baat zarur sunni chahiye, because they help you to realize their potential, your potential as such. The next point of importance is that directing integrates employees' efforts in the organization. See, we simply just talked about this, that directing initiates the action. Now we know this very clearly, that when directing is initiating the action, all people in the organization will start work. All the departments will start working in the way they've been given instructions. Now, with the help of directing, with the help of right communication, with the help of right information spread, the efforts of each person, the efforts of each department would be integrated as such. So we know it very well from our chapter 1 that for coordination, we need to actually keep communicating. We need to actually keep sharing the information. And that is what directing all about. So you're able to integrate the functions of or efforts of all the people working in the organization for a common space, which is for the achievement of organizational goals. Moving ahead, the next point, that directing facilitates introduction of needed changes in the organization. Again, I'm referring to those 4 points: communication, motivation, leadership, and supervision. When these 4 elements are blended well, you can get any kind of task done from the employees or the workers. You remember this movie Chak De? Shah Rukh Khan, Kabir Singh as a coach, Kabir Khan as a coach, he was able to dig out all the potential of his nasty team members who were really considered to be good for nothing. So he was able to get all the energies, potentials of all these people, and actually he made a very strong team. And if you remember, this was a real life case movie. Actually, this happened through the coach Kabir Khan. So somewhere directing helps to facilitate introduction of need. When Ratan Tata acquired JLR, Jaguar and Land Rover, the company Ford actually was very perturbed because they were very disturbed uh, 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 related to the quality and the competition happening at that point of time. And they were realizing that their technology is getting redundant. So they were not able to think it better that what to do with these brands. So when Ratan Tata acquired these brands, with the help of his motivation, leadership to the team of people working in this group, JLR, he was able to bring back that brand. He was able to turn around that brand into a profitable brand again. So he provided vision to this brand again with the help of his proper directing. Moving on to the next point, that directing ensures stability and balance in the organization. Students, please understand, an organization or probably a home wherein the communication is effective, wherein people keep inspiring each other, leadership, wherein people keep stimulating each other, inciting each other, motivation, wherein we know that we all are accountable to each other, supervision ke through everybody is watching us and we are not supposed to do anything wrong. It will ensure stability and balance in the organization. So somewhere directing as a function actually ensures stability and balance, again with the help of all these four elements. So if you have noticed one thing, I'm explaining all the points by using these four elements. So this is what exactly you have to also do in your exam. By using these four elements, you can explain each of the points mentioned in features and importance. Again, a short trick. I'm just going to take these 2 pointers, and again, this is a reference. So our author, Mr. Kapil, is very favorite of potato, it seems. So he actually has collated potato with the essential vegetable of potato with the essentials of or importance of directing, right? So he says that potato is very essential for Indian household kitchen. As in beverages, tea is great. So I pick up one point, potato is essential. So I pick up pot and essential to say that directing actually helps in reaping the potential of the employees, right? As in beverages, tea is great. So I pick up word in, tea, great. From this particular line, if you see, I pick up this in, tea, and great to say that directing integrates the efforts of the people. And then we say that so potato is the king of vegetable. So I pick up this table from this point to relate the importance of directing, which says that directing ensures stability and balance in the organization. So you can take a image of this particular trick and just use it as a reference. And wherever you feel that you're stuck in any topic, you can actually use such tricks. You can make your own tricks to remember the points. Moving ahead, question time now. So let me direct you to a case study. Let me communicate it to you first. What is this case study all about? Let's see the question first. This question says that identify various elements of directing mentioned in the above paragraph by quoting the lines. So let's see this question. Roshan is the chief chef of Sanskriti restaurant located in the city of Bangalore. Now this restaurant is offering some exquisite South Indian cuisines. I'm feeling hungry. Utpam, masala, dosas and vadas. So he's offering this, right? That the restaurant is offering this. Now all the food is prepared under the Roshan's, let's say, purview. So various activities in the kitchen are initiated in accordance to his instructions. He is very clear and specific in issuing instructions to his subordinates in order to ensure smooth working of the department. So students, if you see this line, this is indicating to one of the elements. Then he personally oversees the method followed by the chefs for preparation of each dish, right? So again, this is indicating to one of the element of directing. He misses no opportunity to praise his subordinates. Again, he is missing, using one of the elements of directing here. And he provides constant guidance in order to improve upon the taste and presentation, and also keep encouraging the other chefs to innovate and be more creative in their work. So he's inspiring them now. So if you see the answer here, when he is very clear in the instructions giving, then he is communicating, right? And when he is personally overseeing everyone, then he is supervising. When he is providing constant guidance, when he is asking them to be creative, he is trying to inspire each of the employees or chefs. And when he is missing no opportunity to praise the employees, then it is motivation, right? So students, please remember this thing. Somewhere when you actually work on this case study, first thing first, you should read the question as we have discussed earlier also in our previous webinars, so that you can actually trace the answer exactly what is being asked through the question. So when you read the case study first, it makes no sense because the question is directing you to the proper answer. Over to you, Sapna ma'am.
Thank you, Shweta ma'am, for such wonderful explanation, for such wonderful start of directing function. In fact, children, ma'am has just started the basics of directing. In the coming, in the next 2 hours, we'll be continuing with the elements of directing. But But before I continue with the elements of directing, children, can you see? I would like you all to see this slide very carefully. On the top side, left side, you can see Lord Krishna, you know, the biggest motivator of all times from our country. You have seen that Lord Krishna motivating Arjun in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. When he was, totally confused and depressed whether he'll be able to fight or no. At that time, he stipulated him, convinced him, encouraged him to go ahead and take up the fight. Because it was a fight against Adharma. It was fight against that. And this is how he ensured that there was a goal-directed behavior from Arjuna. Similarly, children, on the slide, you can see some leaders also who have their peculiar style of leading. You can see here Kim Jong, you can see Adolf Hitler, who are very famous for their peculiar style of leadership. And in the very center, you can see our very own Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And I hope everyone can recollect these pictures. You remember every day when we were, we all were waiting with heartthrobs that how Chandrayaan mission would be successful. 2:30 in the night, we all were awake, looking for it, that yes, the mission is about to achieve. Chandrayaan is about to land. And then something very, very unexpected happened. Isn't it, children? That was the point where Modi came. Where Prime Minister Modi came and he motivated, he encouraged the entire ISRO team that, see, failures are the platform to learn. He actually convinced the entire team, the entire country, that I am there with you, and obviously this failure was one learning for us. We'll go ahead with this in the near future. I'll continue with this. I would like you to recap those promising, motivating words of Prime Minister. Have a look at this, children.
आप सभी के प्रयासों पर गर्व है। मैंने आपसे रात में भी कहा था और अभी फिर कह रहा हूं, मैं आपके साथ हूं। देश भी आपके साथ है। साथियों, हर मुश्किल, हर संघर्ष, हर कठिनाई हमें कुछ नया सिखा कर जाती है।
So here, children, you can see how the aura of a leader actually can motivate when you are doomed like anything. Anyways, now with this, I begin with the first element of directing, which is motivation. And everyone understands that if we are talking about the academic terms, then, you know, children, this is a very, very, favorite question of the examiners, where you can get as 1 markers. They may simply ask you, define motive, or what is a motivator? Define motivation. So for these one line of answers are needed here in these type of questions, but you need to understand these 3 terms. When we are talking about this term motive, then motive basically means, children, the urge, the inner state, which actually, you know, makes you behave in a particular manner. There is an urge which makes you, assume some goal-directed behavior is seen after a motive is there with you. For example, if the motive of getting a very good college later on after your class 12 is there in front of you, then for this motive, for this inner feeling, you will be doing something. You will be acting in a certain manner. And there will be certain motivators which will be behind that. So motivators are the techniques which help us to, you know, work in a specific manner. And motivation is what, children? It is an incitement or inducement, you may say. This is a process, basically. The process which makes us work in a specific manner. So these are the 3 terms: motive, motivator. When I'm talking about motivators, you know, there can be extrinsic motivators, there may be intrinsic motivators. Intrinsic means they are something from within, from your side only. Sometimes what happens, you are solving a puzzle, you know, you are engrossed in that. Nobody has told you. You won't get any return for solving that puzzle also. If you are helping out some people, you know, if you are donating blood somewhere, maybe you are taking up some tasks because there is some inner urge to, you know, I mean, that gives you satisfaction. That gives you a feeling of belongingness. That gives you some inner happiness. So these are called as intrinsic motivators. And extrinsic motivators means when you start behaving in a specific manner because you are waiting for some returns. The return may be a very good pay package, and that's why you are doing some overtime. You may be doing some extra work. So that becomes intrinsic and extrinsic motivators for a person. I move to the next slide, where you see features, elements of motivation. Motivation gave basically 4 features here, beta, and these features are so very important. They are also again and again asked. There was a board question also, which very shortly as a case study we'll be discussing. So if you're talking about 4 features of motivation, they are: number 1, it's an internal feeling. Yes, a feeling from within, a feeling from inside that you know how you have to behave. Second thing we say that motivation is it produces goal-directed behavior. When there is motivation, then you strive towards the specific goal. When you are motivated to do something, then actually you want that goal to be achieved. Similarly, third feature of motivation is, you know, it can be both. It can be a positive motivator also. It can be a negative motivator also. Sometimes, you know, you get many positive rewards. There may be promotion, there may be appreciation, there may be applause, there may be all types of rewards to you, which actually makes you do something. And at times, depending upon situation, depending upon people, we have to use negative motivators also. You know, tough times call for tough decisions. Sometimes students who may be very naughty, for them, you know, just appreciating, appraising every time doesn't work. At times, we need to a little bit punish them also. Similarly, if an employee who's not working in a desired manner after repeated reminders, we have to demote him. We have to, you know, issue some memos, some notices to him. So these are called as negative way of motivating. In a way, you know, negatively you are telling person to behave in a desired manner. Fourth feature says, children, that motivation is a complex process. Surely, it's a complex process. Why? Because you are motivating human beings. And human beings on its own, they are very, very complex. You don't know who will be motivated by what way. For some, financial motivations may work. And for some appreciations, just words of praise may work. So, because human beings, human race are very, very, you know, heterogeneous. They're not same. They are not homogeneous. So, motivation also becomes a complex process. And the leader, the motivator has to be, the HR manager has to be very, very calculated while seeing whom he is motivating. So if we see this, all 4 features, we have just tried to put them in mnemonics type of, you know, various tricks and all. Shweta ma'am has also introduced. I mean, depending upon different situations, depending upon different students, we have tried to just give you an idea, children, how in the exam times you can just recap these tricks and these features, these elements through these tricks. So here, one of the idea is just take this mnemonic like IG of CP. IG means Inspector General and CP means cannot place, a popular marketplace in Delhi. So if we take IG of CP to recollect the features of motivation, I says motivation is an inner feeling. G says it leads to a goal-directed behavior. And this CP, C stands for motivation is a complex process and P stands for that it can be both, either positive or negative. There are, this is all is your resource material, children. There are many other tricks also which are there on the top, on the bottom of these slides. You can take them, use them. We are just telling you how to use these tricks, right? Next, we are on a question to judge what you have understood. It says, Sonu Sood, a Bollywood actor, very much in news recently also, is being hailed as a hero for all the relief work he has taken up voluntarily for his Ghar Bhejo campaign. He took up this project as he believed migrant workers have helped build our roads, homes and offices. We cannot stand and watch them to be homeless. So based on this, now you have to answer, children. This reflects that motivation is, please read it. There are 4 options given and then Motivation is a complex process. Motivation is an internal feeling. Can it be either positive or negative? And D is this. You can think of it. I can see children sharing their answers. Yes, you're coming forward. Wonderful. All right. The answer is, if I take you back, in this case, what do you say? The answer is number 4. B and D both. Motivation is an internal feeling, as well as motivation produces goal-directed behavior. Right, children? Again, one more question where you have to match the following. Here it says the first part, you have to match by identifying what will be the respective element of motivation here. The first one says contest is being organized for achieving target sales. So a contest is being organized out of these 3. Come on, you can do it. Please fit. Second is the best performer to be rewarded with 1 week holiday in Thailand. What is it? And third is Lavya, a new manager, wants to grab the opportunity to prove her capability. I can see the answers pouring in. Yes. For this, the answer is, if you see second part, you have matched it correct. In the previous session also, children, I always say keep your pen, papers with you so that you can write down the answers and see match with our slides. It says for the first one, a contest. This contest is motivation. And the best performer, for that, you may say the best performer to be rewarded. This is a motivator for him. And for the third one, you can see it is the motive. We take up third question, which is a fill up the blank. It says motivation is. Yeah, you can do it. You've read the blank, fill up the blank, and yes, you get the answer. Motivation stimulates people voluntarily and helps in bridging the gap between their yes, capability and willingness. So these were the just checkers whether you've understood the concept or no. I now move to another important part of this element, which says process of motivation. So this is the process, children, where how this all starts. There is nothing, no scientific fact as such that you may just a specific thing happens and then that happens. I told you it's a complex process. Basically, when observed by psychologists, they have devised this as a general process of motivation. Generally, what happens? You feel uneasy whenever there is an urge, whenever there is an unsatisfied need. You feel uneasy. You feel your peers and all, they are achieving something that creates tension among you, and then that stimulates your behavior. You start working for the solutions that how I have to achieve this particular need, how I have to satisfy my need, and then accordingly the way you start behaving. This all leads to a defined process of motivation. You can see through the diagrammatical structure also, we have tried to explain that. We now move to the next part where Maslow's need hierarchy theory of motivation will be discussed. You all know Abraham Maslow, a very important, a very popular American psychologist who has devised a theory. In very first chapter, children, we have studied management is both art, science, management, art, science, and profession. So when we say management is an art, there is some science also behind that. There have been, theorists, psychologists like McGregor's theory of motivation. Similarly, Berger has also given a theory of motivation. But in class 12, we are referring to Abraham Maslow's theory, where he has propounded that based on needs of people, the HR manager has to divide, the motivator has to divide the incentives. Every incentive will not work for anyone and everyone. There are specific incentives which will work for different people. If you just assume an employee who has recently joined, then obviously just praising him or, just helping him, giving him some comfortable time, that will not serve his purpose. That will not motivate him. He wants an increase. He wants a pay hike. His basic needs are to be satisfied. Similarly, if you see an employee who is in his late 40s, late 50s, an increase, an inflation of just 500, 1,000, 1,500 will not motivate him. To him, there will be some other motivators. So there are incentives, but based on this theory, the motivator has to decide which incentive will work for what type of employee at a particular point of time. Through this pyramid also, children, I have tried to just explain, you know, at the lower bottom, you can see the physiological, the basic needs, then safety, then love and belonging needs. So this is how the pyramid, progresses. If we further move, then based on this, you know, Maslow's theory is based on certain assumptions. There are certain premises which we keep in mind before we have propounded a theory. As I said, human beings, they have a complex behavior. Everything will not be same for anyone and everyone. So we are keeping certain assumptions in our hands. That first thing is that needs influences the behavior. Then people's needs are in hierarchical order. Hierarchical order means at every stage there is a different need. Third assumption we take these factors as constant and then we apply Maslow's need hierarchy theory. Third factor is a satisfied need can no longer motivate. The HR manager has to devise some other incentive for him. And the fourth one is a person moves to next higher level of hierarchy only when his needs are satisfied. So basically, children, you can see these are the 5 needs: basic physiological needs, safety needs, affiliation needs, esteem needs, and self-actualization needs. These all are the various examples. Basic physiological needs means the very basic needs which are there for a starter, for a beginner. The moment when you join something, then your needs are of a good pay package. This is what you want. Second level, when you have worked for some years, after that you need some kind of safety, some security. You want that your job should be permanent, right? Third level is affiliation needs. When you are sure that yes, your job is secure, you're confident, then you feel the need of affiliation. You want friends, you want family, you want everyone who's, you know, giving you a belongingness objective. Fourth level is children esteem needs. Yes, at this level, we really want recognition. We want autonomy status. We want, you know, open communication policy where our suggestions, everything is welcome. And the last level is self-actualization needs. Self-actualization is possible only when a person's these 4 basic needs are met. Then only he reaches to self-actualization level. For example, when you are confident of your pay package, you are confident of your job, you have a good friend circle who's looking for you for your seminars, workshops and all, then one fine day you feel, yes, I can write a book, I can promote my seminars, I can go and, you know, lecture people. So these are your inner hobbies which are practiced by you once you are secured by the satisfaction of the previous 4 needs. So this is again, you know, explained through this pyramid, which is there in your books also. And in exam, children, this is a very important tip. I'll say if you get a question on Maslow's needs, then you must make this pyramid where you should show from the bottom level the needs, and on the top you can see the pyramid becoming very narrow, because at this level very few people reach and very many people are there at the bottom. This is how the pyramid goes. We now come to when we have understood the motivator, the HR manager. These people have understood that what will work for whom. सब employees different type के होते हैं. किसी के लिए आपने carrots use करना है, तो किसी के लिए stick approach use करना है. किसी के लिए financial incentive will work, for some non-financial incentives will work. When we are talking about incentives, incentives actually means, children, they are the measures that motivate people. They can be of 2 types, financial and non-financial. Financial, as the slide says, they are the direct monetary increases in your pay package, some monetary benefit coming to you for doing a particular task. And non-financial incentive, children, it means any sort of, you know, appreciation, your praise, your applause, some type of job enrichment which has been given to you. You don't want, you know, at your physiological level and your basic needs, you want financial incentives. But when you further go ahead in the pyramid, then it's the non-financial incentives which work for the employees. If I'm talking about the financial incentives, then the very first financial incentive, children, it is pay and allowances, the basic pay, right, which has all the components of DA, HRA, CCA, traveling allowance. These all are components of your basic pay. So this is the basic financial incentive for which any employee is working, right? Second one is productivity productivity-linked wage incentives. Productivity-linked typically means more you perform, more you get, right? So depending upon your productivity, then more and more commission basis wage incentives are provided to the employees. Then, yes, the third one is profit sharing. You are given a share in the profits. You are given at the end in the form of, some part in the abnormal profits that the firm has earned as an award, as an appreciation, totally in monetary forms again. The fourth one is bonus. The fifth one is co-partnership or stock option. You can get children one-marker questions also where only one incentive may be provided, may be used by the motivator, and you may be asked to identify that incentive. So based on that, we have given a small trick also, like pay to the employees, productivity-linked wages, bonus, perks. They all are the financial incentives. Jo agar mil jaye, then every employee will be happily working. I now move to the next one. The next financial incentive is perks, which we call in the offices that, some car allowance is given, some petrol is provided to you, or some other type of benefits are provided in forms of extra allowances. Some medical allowances are provided, tuition fee of children are reimbursed. They are called as perks for the employees. The seventh financial incentive is retirement benefits in the form of gratuity, PF, and all sorts of things which you get when you retire. So that provides you job security, that I've been working for such long. I should be getting some retirement benefits for my comfortable stay later on. With these children, I have, just explained you financial incentives. If I'm talking about non-financial incentives, then children, I must say that everything doesn't work in the same manner for everyone. As I told you, human behavior is complex. So at times you need to have non-financial incentives also. Was reading it somewhere that, somebody said that what motivates? For that, there was an article written in a very famous book called as Drive, the Actual Truth. That motivates us. This is a book, wonderful book, which you can read later on. It is by Daniel Pink, where he says that, it's not the pick and drop facility, free lunches, or very, very, flashy cushions and everything, beautiful furniture in your office that motivates you. It is at times, some other thing like liberty to speak, how open the organizational climate is, including you in some tasks which are very, very promising. So these are also certain things which motivates people at times. You can see there is no monetary return, but still people have an urge to work. People feel happy in such organizations. If you have heard about Google's work culture, it's a very, very employment friendly, culture where the policy is that the employee should be inspired, empowered, and valued. Where the top bosses believe that people are just not job titles. People are not production manager, finance manager. He says that we need to relate with people. So you have to see that there are certain non-financial incentives also where in that category, the first one is your status. The higher you move in the status, that aura, that recognition, that responsibility, that challenging job which comes with your status, that rank, that I am at this level of CEO, CFO. So that particular thing also motivates people. I mean, they don't want for a financial return for these type of things. Second, non-financial incentive children. As I just gave you an example of Google's work culture. So organizational climate. Organizational climate means what is the climate of your organization? Is it very free? Is it liberty giving? Is it actually, open communication policies there where you have the autonomy to take up actions, where people feel you free? So these type of things also motivate you. These are, we call it as irresistible workplace. I mean, these are the magnetic qualities of workplaces which, call you every day to come back to your office. After that, career advancement opportunity. Career advancement opportunity again means at your job only, at your designation only, they provide you many other opportunities where, some types of seminars, workshops, they have sent you on a higher project where if you have joined them, you have attained certain certificates, you are eligible for higher level of designations also. In career advancement opportunity, one word, promotion comes, right? Promotion, children, is a very, very confusing topic at times I have seen a very common query among students where they say that ma'am, promotion can be a financial incentive also, because with promotion, the attached word are increase in salary, increase in pay package also. Generally with promotion, this all comes, right? So when financial returns are coming, shouldn't promotion be financial incentive? Children, my answer is promotion will remain a non-financial incentive, because even if some financial attachments are there, you have to see that promotion is satisfying what level of need. It is satisfying your psychological esteem needs, right? When promotion is there, you're not waiting for promotions or for the hike of money factor. You actually, stimulated because of the, the psychological, or you may say these esteem needs are satisfied with a higher promotion. Therefore, promotion is to be taken as a non-financial incentive. Fourth non-financial incentive, children, is job enrichment. As I say, enriching your job. The way you are eating simple food, or the way you are eating a mix of food with all the nutrients available in that. Similarly, if your job is also enriched with very many experiences, with very many exposures, आप खाली एक काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. If you happen to be, in an insurance company, you are just not handling one thing, but you have exposure to some other areas also. आप administration level भी देख रहे हैं. You are getting a feel of, public dealing also. So these type of different exposures by remaining at one particular job only, that also influences us, that also motivates us. Number 5, fifth non-financial incentive, children, again, very many times has been asked as a board question, employee recognition programs. I was reading it somewhere, children. Wonderful, amazing ways these organizations and corporates and all these, unicorns, they have been using these employee recognition programs for boosting the morale of their employees. Very beautiful techniques are being used. Some employees doing wonderfully well. What do? They allot them a priority area in the parking space. For 1 month, he will park his vehicle at this area only. Similarly, some mugs were distributed among all the employees with the name and signature of the, star performer. Or there may be some exclusive dinner with the boss, exclusive dinner for the entire family. So these type of wonderful employee recognition programs are used by corporates nowadays to boost the morale of the employees. So some specific things which are mentioned in your NCRT book, congratulatory messages, or displaying on the notice board as employee of the month, employee of the year, or there may be some awards may be installed on the name of one employee, distributing some sorts of things like goodies and all. For this, children, we have tried to use this mnemonic for these 5, because this is asked as a 3-marker question also sometimes. The mnemonic here is CDIDR. I hope everyone remembers from class 11 the sources of finance. CD is certificate of deposit. IDR is, Indian depository receipts. So C stands for congratulatory messages. D is for displaying. I is for, installing awards. Like this, you can think of these mnemonics if you feel difficulty in remembering. Then number 6, non-financial incentive is a job security which is given to you. But yes, we have highlighted one negative aspect of this financial incentive, children, that employees at times becomes very, very, casual. They become complacent. They feel that our job is secure. We can do wonderfully well. So this non-financial incentive is to be withdrawn also at times. Then employee participation. Employee participation means there are various programs. You are allowed to be part of trade unions. You are allowed to be part of various organizations, and that gives you a feeling of belongingness, association that serves your purposes also at times. You feel that yes, that is also my family, because it's not only home, it's not only house, the blood relations who are your family, but with whom you are working for a major part of the day, that is also your family. And the last one, children, it says employee empowerment. As I told you, employees are not always happy with the flashiest of stuff. They are not happy with hiked pay packages. They want empowerment. They want to be inspired. They want to be valued. For that matter, ISRO has a great work culture where it has been shown that everyone has an open communication policy. You are empowered to take your own decisions. So these were all non-financial incentives, children. We move to your testing time, your question time now. The very first question, at MMT, make my trip, the employees get I value you card that is displayed at their workstations by the employees. Employees show it. So tell me children, the type of incentive mentioned here. And it is related to, means here you have to write the specific incentive and under which category, financial or non-financial, it comes. You can write your answers, we'll check it. Second one is psychological dash and dash needs of an individual are satisfied by status given to their job. Do it children, I'm waiting. I can see children raising their hands. And the third one is an option where MCQ is provided to you. Wonderful. I can see many students have done wonderfully well. Let's check the answers. Right. The very first one is at MMT. Yes, it is a non-financial incentive. Under which category? Employee recognition program. Similarly, for the second one, social and esteem needs of an individual are satisfied. And for the third one, yes, the correct option was A, organizational climate. Right, children? We have a case study now. And this is a case study, children, which was a very, very controversial one in the year 2016. This was a question where many children could not manage a century. They were stuck at 96. Reason being this 4-marker question. Though I now feel there is no reason, but when you as a student are doing, if we read the question, it says, state the features of the, yes, you are reading it right. Please read the question. State the features of the element of the function of management. The very, very straight hint to you was state the features of the element of the function of management. हमने start कहाँ से करना है बेटा? Function of management. आपको पता आ गया zero down that we are from the first book, function of management. Then he says state the features of the element of. So element means yes, you got it. Elements are only in directing chapter. So that means we have zeroed down to directing chapter now. Now when we are talking about the 4 elements, supervision is not in the syllabus, out of your leadership, communication and motivation you have to take. Up further आ जाइए, state the features of. So features बेटा आपके leadership और motivation में ही है, right? Now we start reading it. If we read the question, it says AS Environments Limited is dealing in this. To get the business, the team leader and his team used to travel to different states for giving presentation to their clients. As per the policy of the company, they used to travel by air, whereas his team traveled by road run. This may be a line which was confusing the children that yes, it's a question from leadership. Then, as a result, the subordinates were not acting in a desired manner to achieve organizational goals, right? So it was decided that everyone will have the same transportation policy. In future, all members, including the leader, would travel together. This made a positive impact and every member of the team started acting in a manner as desired by team leader. So these all are the hints which were there in the question itself, which clearly indicated that this was a question of motivation, children, not a question of leadership. This is how you must attempt the question. The very first part asked, state the features of the element of the function. So सबसे पहले आप लिखेंगे the function of management, which was direction, right? And the element is motivation. इसका individual marking है. After that, because here if you have identified wrong element, the remaining answer will not be checked even. Then we come to the distinct features of motivation, which you had to explain depending upon the weightage. As I've been telling you, if it's a 4-marker question, you must write the heading also and you must explain the heading. Next case study, if you can see, identify the incentive and explain its type. Again, a very much bold question, which has been suggested by Mrs. Raj Lakshmi. So first part is important for the life of second part. अगर आपको second part अपना ठीक करना है, your identification of first part should be correct. He is asking you identify the incentive and explain its type. Incentive means financial or non-financial, and type means further you will go. I can see children raising their hands. Yes, she's working as HR manager. The CEO of the company has invited suggestions from people. If we start reading from here, Mrs. Rajlakshmi recommends that the good employees be rewarded in a way that it creates a feeling of ownership. Yes, this is the key word, children. You got it right. So many children who are giving the correct answer. I move to it. Yes, it is financial incentive. This is the heading, and the type is co-partnership or stock option. Many times children write co-partnership पहले और फिर उसका subtype में financial incentive लिख देते हैं, which is wrong. You have to read the question carefully. In B part, he is asking you other financial incentives. So any two of your choice, but you have to explain them also. Right, children? So I will be moving to the next topic, the next element, and for that, Shweta ma'am is there to discuss the next element of management, next element of directing. I'll just stop sharing my slide so that Shweta ma'am discusses your communication part.